Alright, so Hollow Knight Silksong has released. We're all playing the game for the first time and formulating opinions on it the same way we do with any other video game release. Today, I just wanted to come on here and just briefly talk about my first impressions on Silksong as a game. And let me tell you, I've been loving it. I've been engaged every step of the way. I definitely am gonna do multiple playthroughs, which is something I rarely do nowadays. I'm going to keep this video as spoiler-free as possible. If I end up having any boss fight footage that's any later than the first couple, I'll leave a spoiler warning on screen and you can look away or just click off the video and come back at a later time if you wish to. Otherwise, I'm going to be intentionally vague in order to not spoil things for you guys. Also, I know the title is comparing the game to Hollow Knight, but that's not my main intention with this video, because no matter what, I think both games are awesome. I will be making some comparisons though, just to put it into perspective. Shout out to my channel members, thank you guys for supporting, and let's get right into it. I'm about 7.5 hours into the game and I have loved the world design. One part of this game that especially sticks out is when you're in that area with lava and out of nowhere the area will just begin shaking at times. It's just so incredibly immersive, it's like you're in an active volcano. And the rest of the world, it's just so great. The art style really took a step up from Hollow Knight. Everything is just so damn beautiful, man. But where the game really shines is once again just the incredible sound design. I really haven't played any other game like it in this regard. At one point I heard a noise in the background so realistic that I had to take off my headset and look around my room just to make sure it was coming from the game. Also, one trend I'm starting to see in this game is there's going to be more areas in total, but the individual areas are smaller than they were in the previous game, which I can get behind, but I'm interested to hear how you feel about it because it could definitely lead to the map feeling bloated, but it hasn't felt that way to me. The music is absolutely breathtaking. I still need to work on my instrument recognition, so I can't really name one instrument in specific that I enjoyed from this game's music so far, but I just love string instruments and orchestra, so it's been incredible to listen to, and I can't wait to re-listen to the music after I'm finished with the game. Now, one thing people are noticing is this game is hard as shit. Kinda. I recognize how inherently challenging it is, but I myself have not struggled all too much. Most bosses take me 3 to 4 tries at this point, which is a pretty good middle ground of difficulty for someone like me, who was already extremely good at the previous game compared to other people. I'm not saying that to brag or anything, I'm just saying my experience may be different than yours, simply because I am very experienced with 2D Souls-like type games. I mean, I beat the Watcher Knights in one attempt back in the day, so trust me, I'm a natural at these games. One area that really gave me trouble is Greymoor, which is an area with a bunch of enemies that are more annoying than primal aspids from the original. So just prepare yourself mentally for that. But yeah, as a general difficulty comparison, the normal enemies in this game around the map are definitely much harder than they are in Hollow Knight, but the bosses are only a little harder, if not the same amount of difficulty as before. Probably a little bit harder, it's just I don't notice since I put so many hours into the original game. Now, really the only thing that I'm always going to prefer in the original game is the user interface and the abilities that you can equip, such as charms, for example. I think this is a basically perfect system for tuning the gameplay to your liking, whereas Silksong's tools are just a little bit more restrictive and confusing. My opinion on this might change, of course, but this is just the one big thing that I think Silksong regressed on. It's just, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, and the charm system from the first game worked beautifully, so unless something changes in my playthrough, I do not prefer this system to the original. There is some really cool ideas in Silksong's equipable items. I like how you have multiple crests that completely change the fundamentals of how Hornet attacks enemies. I think that's a really great idea, so I'm excited to see how it evolves as I play the game more and more, but this is something people were a little bit skeptical about going into the game, because Silksong has to make these new innovative design choices in order to feel new and original. I get that. It's just, no matter what, it was going to be difficult to make a better system than the first game, so Team Cherry was kind of between a rock and a hard place with this. I still have fun with the new equipment items so far, it's just not nearly as intuitive as their original. That's kind of where the whole comparison thing comes from. Silksong's new mechanics are still very good, but was it an improvement? So far, I think the simplicity of Hollow Knight's charms did better service to the rest of the experience, but again, these are just my first impressions. One thing I am just now processing is that I'm only 7.5 hours into the game, and I've already discovered like 7 areas. So the pacing in this game is seriously well done, and also the side quests in this game are very fun too. Side quests are very hit or miss for me when it comes to just side quests in general, no matter what game. But so far in Silksong, they definitely hit the nail on the head, no pun intended. So what else is there to discuss? Let's see. Well, the enemies are very fun to fight because once again, they are much more challenging. Also, maybe I'm misremembering the first game, but Silksong seems to have more of these wave-based fights, and I really enjoy these and hope to continue seeing them. Now let's talk about the whole launch situation, shall we? Because that was pretty insane to say the least. In case you missed my live stream or you were watching somebody else like a big smelly poo-poo head, I couldn't play the game until 2 hours after it came out because just like many others, it just wouldn't let me purchase the game. It kept giving me an error message with some little green guy doing a facepalm. Eventually, I bought a Steam key off of a third-party website that was a little bit sketchy, but it did work in the end, so that's all that matters. Also, we gotta talk more about that price point of 20 bucks. Like, I know I said this in one of my YouTube shorts already, but it feels like we're getting away with highway robbery here. I mean, $20 for a modern video game? That's just unheard of. Especially a modern video game that broke records. Actually, I don't know if it broke records, but 500k concurrent first day on a middle of a weekday, that's just ridiculous. Of course, I'm not gonna complain about the price being too low or anything. I'm extremely grateful to Team Cherry that they're giving us this great game for an amazing price. I've also been watching a lot of other creators making videos about how Silksong is essentially sending a middle finger to this idea in the gaming industry that games need to be priced extremely expensive in order to do well. And yeah, obviously that's a ridiculous claim, and Silksong is proving the people who say that incorrect. But one thing I will complain about is no physical versions at launch. It's just a bit disappointing to me. I fully understand that physical media isn't cheap to produce or anything, but they could have charged upwards of $40 for it and I still would have bought it. Not just because I collect physical games, but just to support Team Cherry in general. I know I'm gonna sound like an old man yelling at clouds, but it is genuinely disappointing to see physicals at launch become a rarity. I know it's an independent studio, but even in the AAA sphere, certain physicals aren't even on the disc or cartridge. I really hope that Silksong will be fully preserved once it receives physical media. I mean, I'm sure it will be since indie teams are usually way more down to earth when it comes to game preservation, but I especially worry about the Switch 2 version since there's all that game keycard stuff going on. But anyway, enough of my tangent about physical media. It's just hilarious how an indie team made by a few people crashed multiple digital storefronts because people were desperately trying to buy it. I could still talk about a few other things, but I think I'll just end the video there. Be sure to let me know in the comments how you feel about the game so far. That's it for today, and I'll talk to you guys again very soon.